Good morning. So, let's talk a little bit about the importance of community and what that means for actually any piece of technology or, well, almost any concept. But I think that since we're scoping this entire video series to programming and stuff like that, let's just keep the discussion on programming languages and that type of stuff. So, the thought I have about this is that there are things that I think is very important to take into account when you talk about community and the importance of it. Let's just think about C and C++ to start off with. Now, these two languages are the most powerful languages that the programming world has. They are by far the languages that should, in theory, be the only thing that we need. You can do everything that all the other languages can, in theory. Now, the problem with these two languages, apart from being extremely low level and not really designed to do like you get a lot of stuff for free in other languages, and that's kind of the limitations that you see that are bridged by other communities who build on top of these languages. But under the hood, most of these languages, if not all of them, are built on these languages. So where does this need come from? Why would you design these new languages if you have languages that a language that can already do everything that you could possibly want? My answer to that question is that the language that you have, or the concept that you have, lacks in some area. In other words, my opinion is that these languages lacked the proper community and maintenance, and the language didn't evolve at the pace that there was a need for. Now, I'm not bashing these languages. They have been around for such a long time that it's not really, it's not fair at all to even suggest such a thing, and I'm not. All I'm saying is that I'm pretty sure that, and in theory that's impossible, but I would argue that if C++ had the same type of attention paid to it like JavaScript has, I would be very surprised if that wasn't the main language of the world today. It almost being literally the only language we used for the most part. And that's why I want to touch on the importance of community, and it was something that wasn't all that important back in the day, but we're starting to see a trend which I think is amazing. I was actually contacted by Google a while back for a team, or a position at a team that they called the Developer Relationships Team, which in essence are programmers and people who are specializing in building community around tools and concepts and all of that good stuff. These are the type of people that are in charge, in essence, of maintaining a healthy community around the technologies that Google develop, and other really large pioneers like Facebook and Mozilla, and they have these people around. And I think that's a great thing, because and I think that this is like the reason why JavaScript is taking such a large amount of it's basically why JavaScript has been popularized to this point. I think that there is some truth in yes, it's the language of the browser, it's easy to start using and all that stuff, but I don't think it ends there. I think that there is a good amount of credit to be paid to how great the community is. But of course, that doesn't mean that it's all about community. If you look at Ruby, who has one of the best communities, it still isn't as large as JavaScript, but I think that it's an important factor to have with you. So where am I going with this? Well, I'm going with that some part of me wants to believe that we have realized that programming isn't anymore. I'm not saying that programming is easy. It will probably never be easy, depending on what you compare it to. But I think that this old way of thinking, where programming was this highly technical profession, where only like mathematicians and engineers and like people who are truly gifted in the academic world had to go to the university and learn all that stuff. I think those times are behind us. I think, because I've spoken to a lot of people who work at very prestigious companies who are completely self-taught, and these people get to where they are because of community. So if my opinion is that today community is probably the most important thing, apart from, like, the language obviously has to provide some type of value, but apart from that, I think community is the most important thing for the adoption rate of any language.